Hi guys, welcome to Knits Up. I'm Mindy, your hostess, otherwise known as Knitter CNY, and you have found me. I'm recording on YouTube today, a very quick episode because I haven't recorded in over a month and thought maybe you'd want to make sure I'm still alive and knitting and crocheting and etc. I'm only going to talk about one project and a couple acquisitions, so it'll be pretty short. If you need to find old shows, including audio shows, you can go to knitsup.libsyn.com. That's knitsup.libsyn.com. I've been in the sun a little bit this afternoon. I went over to our canal park. It's where Oneida River goes into Oneida Lake, and there's a difference in the height of one to the other. I can't remember which is shallower and which is higher, but the lock is there to change the water level so that a boat can it's like stepping up on a step to get into a house or a building. It's kind of like that with water. And there were a lot of boats that went through today, but these locks are like very old. They're maintained by the New York State Canal Corp, which is like an authority basically of New York State. But they're free to use. They tried to charge 1 year, and it was kind of embarrassing because everybody was like, this is the stupidest thing ever. It's not the New York State Thruway. But anyways, so I watched a lot of boats go in and out and just sat in my lawn chair and knitted. And what I'm working on is do I have the pattern? Yes, I have the pattern. The Leaf Top by Patents. And it was originally out of organic bamboo that they produced for a while. Looks like that. Comes in a bunch of sizes. It's a free pattern. You can still find it at yarnspirations.com. It calls for a bulky weight, and it's 15 stitches and 21 rows to 4 inches or 10 centimeters. I'm using a size 10 needle, which I believe is a 6.0 millimeter. Yeah, that sounds right. The yarn I'm using is not the bamboo because that was discontinued a long while ago. I'm using some stuff I got on sale at Hobby Lobby a while ago when they had a clearance sale, and that's right, it's $1.49 a ball. So I think I can't even remember how many balls I bought, but I have the lace kind of looks like this, which you can't really see. Now you can see it. It looks like leaves, hence the name. It's short sleeved. I'll just do some garter stitch bind off, like 4 rows of garter stitch bind off, and then it's done. This is, I think it's a 50-50 of a cotton and acrylic. So I can wear this into the fall with a cami or a turtleneck underneath, whatever. It's heavy, so I think it'll work well into fall. I do have some lighter colors of this, and I thought about extending the sleeves down, but I just thought it would look weird. It's about the color of blue jeans. I think it is called denim. Yeah, it's called denims. And it's sort of a funky mix of colors. And I am down to almost the bottom. There were a couple issues with this. Mine, not the patterns. I'm making the 4X, 5X size. That's one of the reasons I also like Yarnspirations for free patterns, because they do go up to a size that's large enough for me. My finished bust size is large. We'll put it that way. But one of the things I was supposed to do was right after the lace part, I was supposed to do increases. Well, I delayed doing them until a little bit farther down because I hadn't read the pattern all the way through. And I've made this before, so I should have known to do it. Well, I grabbed a couple of other circular needles last night because this is knit on one circular needle. and it's hard to try on because that's smaller than my waist. So I grabbed about 3 other circular needles just to give myself plenty of room. And when I put it on, it billowed out. Billowing out is not a good look in a sweater for me. And I was on my last skein of yarn. Not going to work because it's on clearance. I don't want to put the lighter colors at the bottom of a sweater. It would just look weird. So what I did was rip out 2 skeins of yarn. And this is where you cast on for the underarm. So this would be a sleeve. And then I did some inconspicuously placed decreases. I wound up doing, I had a marker, and on either side of the marker I did a knit one, either a slip knit or knit 2 together around each marker for 5 rounds with 1 round of knitting in between. So I decreased 20 stitches, and there's the cat. How exciting. There's Tigger the cat. You should be thrilled. She doesn't go to see just everyone. But 20 stitches winds up being 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. I've knitted for far too long when I can eyeball 20 stitches, put my fingers there and go, oh yeah, that's 20 stitches. So that winds up being about 6 inches that I've decreased, but gradually. So it's not, it looks like, no, you do not need to be on the table. Thank you so much. It looks like it puckers, but it's not, nobody's going to notice because it's under the side here. Nobody's going to notice that. But I went to the park, and the 2 skeins that I had ripped out, I have now reknit. I am on my last skein again, and I need to measure how long this is now, because before, when I got to the 2 skeins, it was only 9 inches. And because I have this convenient 10.5 inch by, no, sorry, 8.5 by 10 paper, I can now measure with this. And if I hold this correctly, I've gained 1 inch. So by doing those decreases, I've gained 1 inch in length, which is actually going to be perfect. I should be okay. It stretches a lot, and the V-neck or the round neck is very low. So I'm definitely going to have to wear a cami with it. I may have to bind off the sleeves, do that garter stitch in the lighter color, but I think I'm okay with that. Just because it'll be fine. And so I've been knitting on that. So that was my canal knitting. The other thing I bought yesterday was a friend of mine wanted to go to the mall to look at some stuff. And I said, well, you know, I saw these, they're launching a new yarn. And he was cool with that. So we went into Michael's, and it was buy 2 skeins, get 1 free. They retail for $7.99 in the United States. You may have seen them on the Crochet Crowd. They're called Caron plus Pantone, or times Pantone. And this color is called Tree Rings. What it is, let's tell you how many yards there are. There are 127 yards. This is made in China. It is 60% acrylic, 20% nylon, and 20% merino wool. It is a number 5 bulky. So it's a bulky weight. There's pattern support with this. It is not a continuous yarn. It's a gradient set, basically, but in the Pantone colors. You may have seen Pantone for like printing and graphic art references, that sort of thing. They got together and did basically gradient sets, but the marketing of it is very, very clever. Each one is, there's 5 of them in a set. This one again is called Tree Rings. There's an inspiration picture, and then this is what it looks like in the Pantone color along with the Pantone number. From the side, they look like knit stitches. It's bulky, it's squishy. It's very, very squishy. So it makes a square presentation. Each braid is $7.99 in the US, $9.99 in Canada because the currency exchange rate. Came out yesterday, basically. And because I had the thing, I bought 3 of them. So they're all Tree Rings. I have other bulky yarn that I can use with this. I'm thinking they have a Fair Isle sweater. And one of the things that's kind of unique with this is I think there's 27 different colors of this. I think some of them might be solid. Like this, there's a raven color that's the black that they call, that's solid. There's a cream that's solid. There's a few other colors, but they come in like purples, oranges, pinks. Some of them have a weird green in them. There's some blues. There's a little bit of everything for everybody, but this works for me because you can always buy black bulky yarn, or in my case, I think I have some like Lion brand yarn or something. And I think what I'm going to use this for is a Lopi sweater. I have some of the Lopi books, and hi kitten, go play. I have some of the Lopi books, so I could actually do a Lopi yoked sweater out of this, and then just find a solid that'll work for the rest of the body. She's now having fun with a paper bag. Or a plastic bag. So that's what I'm going to do with that. So it's $15. I wasn't going to buy the Fair Isle sweater. The patterns they have a tool online called Color Play, where you can change the order of the colors. You can also change the braid that's used, and because they're Pantone colors, they can physically change the picture. And it looks really good. It's very easy to work with. And you'd be surprised how changing one color from one place to another makes a huge difference in how the sweater looks. That's the only pattern I really care for, but I don't know that I'm really super excited about that. So I think what I'm going to do is just use these in the yoke and then find an appropriate yarn for the body. I probably have something in my stash. I know I have something in my stash. It might not be exactly the same makeup, but it'll work. You got to make the stash work. The other thing I bought were some needles off of Wish, through the Wish app. They took about a month to get here, and they are Chinese sizing. I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I think there's 12 of them, something like that. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. There's 12 of them. They go from really, really tiny to like, I think this is like 1.5 millimeters, something like that. A 13, I believe, is a 2.25 millimeter. I'll use that for socks. I got the 40-inch. I think it's the 100 millimeter length, and I think this is an 8 US. So you have to look online to find the chart to be able to convert the Chinese numbering system to US. They come with darning needles for the largers for some of them. Not all of them have darning needles, but there's a few little darning needles. So that's nice. I think I paid $3 or $5 for this, and maybe $5 in shipping. So I figured they're backup needles. They're not perfect by any means. I'm going to take out the size 13, which would be the kind I normally use for sock knitting. Surprisingly, a sharp point. The cables remind me of Chagus. There's a little bend. And this brand is Rui Boyan. Rui Boyan? Why? I can't pronounce Chinese. I have friends in school that probably could pronounce that very easily because our school, when I went to college at Cortland, had a teacher exchange program with Beijing Teachers College. So we had several people that went over and went to school there and then came back. And we also had students and professors that came over from Beijing Teachers College and went to Cortland. So that was kind of interesting. So that's my purchases. And then I'm just finishing this lovely sweater so I can go back to working on baby stuff. I had talked about my cousin and his wife were expecting a baby in November. I just got a note from his mother that I think it's the weekend of October 20th, around that date, she's having a shower for them. So I need to get my butt in gear and finish the blanket that I'm working on out of Bernat Pipsqueak. And then I've got some old Caron Simply Soft. I think it's English Rose is the color that I have. I have 5 or 6 skeins of that to make a hat, a sweater, and mittens. So there you go. And now I'm going to go hang out with a friend of mine and relax because it's a Sunday afternoon and I have mowed my lawn yesterday. So I am done. And I've done laundry and the cat is fed, even though she'll tell you that she's starving and nobody ever feeds her. Ever. She has an automatic food dish that feeds her with a manual override. Never make the mistake of doing a manual override. Look at the kitty. Okay, well, have a great week and go craft. I hope you guys have a wonderful next couple of weeks until Labor Day. And show me what you're working on if you're getting into fall knitting at all or any new yarn purchases you have made. Until then, my fuzzy co-host and I bid you adieu.